Can you hear me back there? Can you hear me back there? Good. Let us begin. My name is Bahman Mirshab. I'm Dean, College of Management. By the way, soon the name of the college is going to be changed to College of Business and Information Technology. Before I start the event, I would like to start with a story about the president. I don't know if I'm going to have my job, President Modgil, after I finish what I'm supposed to say. But it says, the retiring president of a university, after a standard farewell, gave 2 envelopes marked number 1, number 2, to incoming president, and said, whenever you run into a management crisis you cannot handle by yourself, open envelope number 1. At the next crisis, open the second envelope. A few years later, a major crisis came. The president went into the safe and pulled out the first envelope. It said, blame the former president. A few later, a second crisis came. The president went for the second envelope, and it said, prepare 2 envelopes for your successor. I hope I have my job. Okay. Welcome, President Modgil, Provost Vose, President Emeritus Dr. Richard Marburger, Honorable Justice Richard Bernstein, Honorable Mr. Kenson Seaver, Mayor of Southfield, fellow deans, faculty, staff, students, and guests. I'm honored to welcome you to this event. We are here this evening to celebrate initial AACSB accreditation of the College of Management. By the way, it was done under my leadership. And installation of a chapter of Beta Gamma Sigma, International Business Honor Society for only AACSB accredited universities. Synonymous with the highest standards of excellence since 1916, only 810 universities, only 810 universities, less than 5% of universities worldwide have been able to meet stringent standards of accreditation. The mission of AACSB International is to foster engagement, accelerate innovation, and amplify impact in business education. I'm pleased to report that at the present time, College of Management is the only college accredited by 3 accrediting organizations, ACBSP, IACSB, and AACSB. In Michigan, we are the only institution which is accredited by these 3 organizations. I guess that needs a round of applause. I cannot thank enough President Modgil and my faculty and staff colleagues at the college for their support and hard work in the past 5 years, which made it possible for the college to reach the goal of AACSB accreditation 2 years ahead of schedule. Oh, thank you. Before giving the podium to the president of Beta Gamma Sigma, who has come here from St. Louis, I would like to recognize some individuals in the audience. As I mentioned your name, please stand up to be recognized. If I leave somebody's name out, I'm apologizing. Mr. Henry Baskin. By the way, this is alphabetically. Mr. Ruben Coleman, Supervisory Agent of FBI Detroit. Dr. and Mrs. Josep Torosian. Ms. Cynthia Hutchinson from Automation Alley. Mr. Zach Ismail. Mr. Ronald Kagan, Executive Director and CEO of Detroit Zoo. He could not be here today. Mr. Gregory Cross. Dr. Cheryl Mitchell, City Manager, Lothrop Village. And by the way, she's a graduate of our doctoral program. She was City Manager of Albion, and recently she became City Manager of Lothrop College. Lothrop. Mr. David Norwood, representing City of Dearborn. Mr. Thomas Paxton, another lawyer, friend of mine. Mr. Fred Zorn. Mr. Fred Zorn. The second group that I'm going to recognize is Advisory Board of College of Management, whose generosity made this event possible. Ms. Karen Arthur Langley. Karen. Dr. Armand Ash, President and CEO of Megatronics. Mr. John Beebe, representing Plant Moran. Ms. Beth Chappell is former president of Detroit Economic Club. She could not be here, unfortunately. Ms. Nadia Fadelbazi. Mr. Scott Zurka. He's not here. Mr. William Harvey, he's not here. Mr. Satish Justi, he's not here. Dr. Hamid Servati. Mr. Rupesh Srivastava, Rupesh is not here, you know. Mr. Top Lob from Federal Reserve, not here. Mr. Keith Pratt, not here, you know. Jack Shubatowski, not here. The next group includes my colleagues at LTU, Professor Glenn Bauer, Dean College of Arts and Sciences, Mr. Mark Berkey, Executive Director of Corporate and Community Partnership, Dr. Sabrina Colling, Executive Director of Marburger STEM Center, Ms. Christine Debris, Vice President of Development, Professor Carl Dobman, my good friend, Dean, College of Architecture and Design. By the way, his wife has the best restaurant in Ann Arbor. Ms. Nadia Fadelbazi, of course. Dr. Nabil Grace, he could not come here. He sent me an email, unfortunately. Ms. Linda Heights, Vice President for Finance, could not come here. Ms. Mariana Hernandez. Mariana, where are you? Ms. Teresa Jameson, Director of Nursing Program. As you know, under leadership of Dr. Modgill, we started a nursing program, and truly speaking, a student came to me yesterday and said, I transferred from Oakland University because your nursing program is much better than Oakland University. I mean it, it's the truth. Dr. Richard Marburger, President Emeritus of University. Professor Keith Nigara. Keith, where are you, my friend? Those who have not been to main event, which Keith organizes every year, you're missing because he invites everybody from all over the world just before the International Auto Show in Detroit, and we get a lot of recognitions. My boss, Dr. Maria Vaz. I'm going to introduce also Dr. Stan Harris. Dr. Stan Harris, could you please stand up? who is a professor emeritus. Last but not least, may I ask all colleagues in the College of Management to stand up and be recognized. Before I introduce Ms. Cristina Carasolo, who's CEO of Beta Gamma Sigma, I would like to give you a brief introduction. Ms. Cristina Carasolo is the CEO of Beta Gamma Sigma, the international honor society serving business programs accredited by AACSB, the Association to Advance Collegiate Schools of Business. Beta Gamma Sigma has established over 590 collegiate chapters and 47 alumni chapters around the world, and inducted over 830,000 members since its founding in 1913. Beta Gamma Sigma alumni serve in corporate, entrepreneurial, government, nonprofit, and academic sectors. Members currently reside in all 50 states and more than 190 countries where they are changing the world at all levels of contributions through business, education, social enterprise, service, and leadership. Chris is a member of Forbes Nonprofit Council, an invitation-only organization for chief executives in successful nonprofit organizations. She is also an executive council member of Elevate, a global network dedicated to worldwide economic engagement. Prior to Beta Gamma Sigma, she was Senior Vice President in General Electric's business unit, President of Middle Market Consulting Firm, serving nonprofit and for-profit clients, and nonprofit executive director in the healthcare industry. Ms. Carasolo has served on nonprofit boards for organizations that support education, leadership development, financial literacy, and healthcare. She is summa cum laude graduate of St. Louis University with a degree in organizational psychology. It's my honor to introduce Cristina, who's a good friend of mine. Cristina.
So I now have found my next PR agent with that kind of introduction. Thank you. I'd like to return the favor a little bit because I've gotten to know Bauman over the past couple of years through AACSB events, and I seldom have encountered a dean with as much enthusiasm as this man right here. And it's enthusiasm that I appreciate, an enthusiasm that from a while back he started talking about making sure that there would be a Beta Gamma Sigma chapter at the school. And we talked about the rigorous accreditation process that the school has gone through for AACSB accreditation. And it's not an easy thing to accomplish. And so first, I want to congratulate everyone here who had something to do with that, because it's something that's not easy to get. And it's something that I believe you'll cherish for a lifetime. And for those of you who are being inducted tonight, it's a lifetime membership and one that we hope you'll be proud to accept. So with that, I'm going to start the official installation ceremony. On behalf of the Beta Gamma Sigma Board of Governors and the global headquarters staff in St. Louis, I am here today to formally install and recognize the official formation of the Lawrence Technological University Beta Gamma Sigma chapter. Your university has worked tirelessly to earn the prestigious AACSB accreditation, and as a result has earned the right to establish a Beta Gamma Sigma chapter. I am pleased that your institution has chosen to move forward in this process. This event is a testament to the hard work of your administration and faculty, and I am honored to join you and have you join us as a new chapter. After your installation, your university and students will be joining a very exclusive group of top business institutions and scholars. As you heard, AACSB has accredited a certain number of chapters, but what I would really hope that all of you would understand, and especially those of you that may not be as familiar with the organization, the chapters that AACSB has accredited represents the top business schools around the world. It's not just whoever receives that accreditation, it's the top business schools around the world. And so those of you who are being inducted as undergrads, you're in the top 10% of the top 5% of business school students around the world. And for those of you that are in graduate or MBA programs, you're the top 20% of master's and MBA students from the top 5% of business schools around the world. I am pleased to welcome your chapter. This chapter is the 594th chapter in Beta Gamma Sigma. To give you a little bit of history, our origin dates back to the earliest years of the 20th century. During that time, business students were largely excluded from consideration for other societies recognizing academic excellence. As such, 3 student recognition societies on the campuses of the University of California, Berkeley, the University of Illinois, and the University of Wisconsin came together in 1913 to establish a national organization which was named Beta Gamma Sigma. This name was chosen to represent the initials of 3 distinguished business professors at the University of Wisconsin. 105 years later, Beta Gamma Sigma is the largest organization in the world that honors business school graduates internationally. Beta Gamma Sigma membership is the highest honor that a business student attending an AACSB accredited school can achieve. Members are all over the world, currently reside in 190 countries in all 50 states, and our members are the cream of the crop as far as their contributions in a variety of business sectors. The symbol of Beta Gamma Sigma is the key. This symbol also represents our ideals of honor, wisdom, and earnestness, and is inscribed with the Greek letters which represent the society's name. I believe there are the Beta Gamma Sigma part, is that going to come with the induction ceremony itself, explaining those 3 letters? Okay. Beta Gamma Sigma asks that all members who wear this key do so with our principles in mind. BGS also asks that our chapters pledge themselves to uphold these principles and allow them to provide a framework in which all chapter decisions are made. This document here in the frame next to the flag, I'd like to formally present you with your chapter's chartering document. This document has been provided to you by BGS Global Headquarters on behalf of the Beta Gamma Sigma Board of Governors and the Beta Gamma Sigma staff. This chartering document signifies the official establishment of your chapter and can serve as an outward symbol of your university's hard work and dedication to academic excellence. Please display this document proudly and articulate its meaning to all who inquire. Now that the principles and symbols of our society have been shared with you and your chapter's official chartering document has been presented, I am pleased to announce the official installment of the Lawrence Tech Beta Gamma Sigma chapter. As an installed chapter of Beta Gamma Sigma, you now possess the right to recognize all of your eligible students with lifetime membership in our society. It is our sincerest hope that BGS is able to provide a partnership that will recognize your top business students for many years to come. Please accept our sincerest congratulations on your inaugural class of Beta Gamma Sigma members. Once again, on behalf of our Board of Governors, I'd like to congratulate you and welcome you into our society. And thank you, by the way, for allowing me to be a part of this event.
Now we're going to ask all of our students and honorary inductees to come take your seat on the stage. You'll notice that your name is on your seat, so please come join us on stage so we can start the induction ceremony.
Mem-
President Provost.
We should ask her to come.
Yeah, they need to be in the pictures.
Oh, yes, that's right. Then you know when we ask them to come upstairs. Members of the Lawrence Technological University chapter of Beta Gamma Sigma. We will now proceed with the recognition of newly elected members. Ms. Janes, you will present the candidates.
Mr. President, I present you with 26 inductees to Beta Gamma Sigma.
Candidates, do you desire to be admitted to Beta Gamma Sigma? If so, say, I do. You have been honored by an invitation to membership in Beta Gamma Sigma because of what you have achieved in scholarship and service. You are honored to have you join us. Beta Gamma Sigma is the scholastic honor society dedicated to the principles and ideals essential to worthy life, as well as to commendable business careers. The mission of International Honor Society Beta Gamma Sigma is to encourage and honor academic achievement in the study of business, to foster personal and professional excellence, to advance the values of the society, and to serve its lifelong members. The principles of Beta Gamma Sigma are presented by three Greek words, initial of which form the names of Beta Gamma Sigma. At this point in time, I would ask Professor Tom Marks to explain statement of Beta.
Thank you. Beta is the initial letter of the Greek word BGS, which signifies honor. Honor is personal integrity and excellence of character. It is an enduring quality found in all persons who deserve to lead. All honorable persons conscientiously seek to recognize, to uphold, and to encourage that which is ethical and that which is just. With humility, they acknowledge human failings, which tend to induce the sacrifice of lofty ideas for base gains. They are aware of the difficulty of distinguishing right from wrong when confronted by a variety of alternative goals and a multitude of pressures and means to achieve these goals. But their honor is coupled with resolute courage. They may falter and they may fail, yet they rise with renewed determination to do what is right. Their reputations are their most priceless possessions. All honorable persons recognize their duties before they demand their rights. They respect law and promote order, not because of negative fear of sanctions, but because of an affirmative conviction that a good society requires the stability which order provides. Worthy members of Beta Gamma Sigma consciously seek to to be honorable at all times. Thus, they confidently pursue peace of mind and happiness for themselves, even as they serve as an exemplar for others. Honor is a guiding star which encourages altruism, enlightens social responsibility, and service rather than selfishness. I ask you to accept honor as an idea to be translated into reality, to translate it into conduct every day of your life. Thank you.
Statement of Gamma. I'm gonna ask Professor Pavlo Tesabro to mention statement of Gamma.
Thank you, Dean Rashab. Gamma is the initial letter of Greek word gnosis, which means wisdom. Truly wise persons are aware of their talents and achievements and do not deny or belittle them with misplaced modesty. However, they are also acutely aware of their own limitations and are sympathetic to the shortcomings of others. They are quick to acknowledge their profound dependence on masters who have gone before them. They laud those who have laboriously built early civilizations, and they gratefully accept the rich intellectual and cultural heritage they have provided. They are, moreover, thankful for contributions to their development made by family and friends, by superiors and subordinates, by associates and antagonists. Persons of wisdom constantly seek a better comprehension and more fruitful application of what is known. They are also endlessly engaged in a quest for an understanding of what is unknown. Although the fund of human knowledge has literally multiplied in recent decades, the wise person happily anticipates a future which promises to provide a geometric expansion of this treasure store. Confronted by a veritable flood of facts and concepts, the person of wisdom exercises this special discrimination of to select, to arrange, to relate, to interpret, and to apply. This is a challenge worthy of the finest mind. I ask you to continue your quest for wisdom. Nurture it and utilize it in your conduct every day of your life. Thank you.
Statement of Sigma. Sigma is the initial letter of the Greek word spudei, which means earnestness. Earnestness is enthusiasm measured by achievement, disciplined by reason, and ennobled by sincerity. It is that dynamic quality which is essential for all great achievement. Earnest people reject temerity and timidity. They have courage to match their convictions. They inspire confidence, invite action, and generate progress. Without earnestness, both honor and wisdom lose much of their potential effectiveness. Noble purposes defined with wisdom and upheld with honor remain evanescent dreams without the driving power of sensible enthusiasm. The greatest personal achievement are tributes to the blending of honor, wisdom, and earnestness in the minds and hearts of those who lead, rewards for the individual, and progress for society surely proceed from this wholesome union of qualities. To each of you, much has been given in mind, body, and spirit. Of each of you, accordingly, much is expected. Earnestness will help provide perseverance that dispels weariness, that forward trust that overcomes opposition, and the resilience that rebounds from reverses. To the earnest person, problems become opportunities for service and profit. I ask you to accept earnestness as a guide and stimulate in your personal conduct every day of your life. Candidates, you have heard the principles which members of Beta Gamma Sigma endorse and strive to uphold: honor, wisdom, earnestness. Do you accept these principles as your own? If so, say, I do. Please repeat after me a statement in which you formally accept the principles of Beta Gamma Sigma. I pledge myself to maintain and uphold the ideals and principles of Beta Gamma Sigma, the Scholastic Business Honor Society. I will guard and cherish honor. I will strive ever to acquire wisdom and use it for the betterment of humankind. I cultivate earnestness in all my undertakings. As a member of this chapter of Beta Gamma Sigma, I recognize my obligations to assist and cooperate in the development of its purposes. I will seek by all honorable means to advance the interests of the college and university, of my community and of my nation. Do you affirm this pledge? If so, say I do. Candidates, in recognition of your accomplishments and your pledge to high ideals, we will now present to you the key of Beta Gamma Sigma. This key is a symbol of the ideals of honor, wisdom, and earnestness, which you have accepted. At this time, I will ask to invite Dr. Virender Madgil, President of Lawrence Technological University, Dr. Maria Vaz, Provost of Lawrence Technological University, President of Beta Gamma Sigma, to join us for presentation of awards. You may like to say first, we invite Justice Bernstein and Mayor, and they join us for the ceremony. Justice Bernstein, Mayor, they join the group for the handshake.
First, we would like to induct honorary inductee Justice Richard Bernstein and honorary inductee Mayor Kenson J. Siver, and to join us for photos as well.
Both Justice Bernstein and distinguished Mayor of Southfield are joining us to greet students and take picture with students. each inductee is going to be called by name as they come here. Ms. Mina Gina and Ms. Donna Kress, give them the certificates and, of course, the robe and the pin. They come here, they shake hands with each member, and we take a picture.
And then you can sit down after that and at your tables. Sanat Afara. Shadan Al-Farhoud. Lisa Anderson. Michelle Budkovich. Josh Durlam. Lahua Dishman. Zach Farr. Jessica Guertin. Rod Harris. Georgetta Hersaga. Alexander Lanzon. Yong Lee. Larry Lewis. Christopher Orr. Valerie Scott. Gerald Story. Yan Jun Tan. Jai Soon. Alexander Track. Michael Van Hess. Varun Vikram. Tony Vuljai. Tom Zelanka. We also have several students who are unable to be here tonight who you'll see noted in your programs, and we are also inducting them. So a total of about 45 students are being inducted tonight. So we thank those students who could be here with us.
At this time, I'm gonna ask our Provost, Dr. Maria Vaz, to introduce distinguished mayor of City of Southfield, who is gonna give a message to students. After that, we are gonna have a dinner. And of course, after that, Justice Bernstein is gonna deliver his keynote speech. Dr. Vaz?
Thank you very much, Dr. Mershab. Mayor Siver has lived and worked in Southfield for over 50 years. As a teacher of Southfield Public Schools, he taught English, journalism, and American history for almost 2 decades before becoming a full-time administrator in 1986. In 2011, after 44 years with the district, he retired as Deputy Superintendent of the Southfield Public Schools, but he continues to serve as a school volunteer. From the moment Dr. Siver moved to Southfield decades ago, he has been an involved citizen, and he continues his community involvement to this day. He is an active member of the Southfield Good Fellows, Southfield Historical Society, Southfield Lathrop Democratic Club, Southfield Parks and Garden Club, Magnolia Neighborhood Association, and member of the board, a founding member of the Southfield Martin Luther King Task Force, and the current president of the Southfield Nonprofit Housing Board. Dr. Siver is the author of 3 local histories. Southfield, and the titles are, Southfield Faces the Crucial Decades, the development of a suburb to its school system in the years following the World War II. A second book called A Brief History of Southfield for Elementary and School Students, and Southfield, the History of Our City in its 5th year. In 2016, he co-authored the biography of his great-grandfather, entitled An Uncommon Criminal, The Extraordinary Life of Edwin Turner, now let's see if I can say, Oswald Destin, and contributed and edited the Southfield Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force 30th Anniversary History. In 2001, Dr. Siver was elected to the Southfield City Council. He was re-elected to the council in 2005, 2009, and 2013. And in 2015, he was elected mayor of the city of Southfield. Please help me in welcome Dr. Siver to the podium.
Well, good evening. I think I'm looking at the program and I see that I am standing between all of you and dinner. So I'll be brief. Probably the introduction by Dr. Vaz is longer than what I have to say. But as Maria has mentioned, I've been here for over 50 years, and my first years in Southfield, I would drive by Lawrence Tech, but I really didn't get to know the university until about 41 years ago, when I met a man by the name of Dr. Richard Marburger. And it was a friendship that has lasted over the decades, and really was my introduction to Lawrence Tech and all of the wonderful things that happen at this university. I can tell you that as a school administrator first, we collaborated through Dr. Marburger with the university on a number of things, and then on with Dr. Chambers and Dr. Lewis, and then of course now with Dr. Modgill. And This is as a school administrator and as a city councilman and now mayor. We're extremely proud to have Lawrence Tech as one of our municipal partners, but also that Southfield is the home to this wonderful university. All of the things that go on, I'm just always so impressed. And for the students here tonight, I know that you've gotten a wonderful experience by enrolling at Lawrence Tech and studying on this campus. I've said this many times before, but in my next life, I want to have a full head of hair, and I want to be a student at Lawrence Tech. But I am here tonight to offer, first of all, congratulations to the university on so many accomplishments, but specifically tonight on the accreditation to the CSB. It's sort of a mouthful. And of course, the chartering of the Beta Gamma Sigma chapter at the university. I congratulate all of you that were inducted this evening, and I'm very, very pleased and honored to been asked to be part of this program, but also to be an honorary member of the chapter. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor, for your inspiring message to our inductees. They are gonna call you by table to go for dinner, but I have here my good friend John Beebe, and I promised that I will, say a funny joke about accountants, and he's gonna be mad if I don't do that. Where did I leave my glasses? Okay. It says, a woman went to a doctor who told her that she had only 6 months to live. "Oh my God," said the woman, "what shall I do? Marry an accountant?" The doctor replied. "Why?" asked the woman. "Will that make my life longer?" "No," replied the accountant, "but it will seem longer." I have many more jokes which I'm going to tell you after dinner. Now, how does it work? They are going to call you by tables? Right. Okay, I know you're having fun, and I know you're waiting for me to give you another joke, which I'm going to tell you, I promise. But before we give the floor to our distinguished keynote speaker, Justice Bernstein, we have two fresh women of class of 20 years from now. And one of them is going to sing for us. She is daughter of Dr. Shamir, and Shamir is there, as you know. He's one of the most distinguished faculty here. Come on here and sing something. Go ahead. Introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Danielle Shamir.
And then what are you going to sing? You don't want to sing? You're shy? Keynote speaker for tonight. I know Dr. Justice Bernstein is out for a few minutes, but that's okay. Per your request, I'm gonna give you another joke. Why God would never get tenure? He only had one publication. It had no references. It wasn't published in a referee journal. The scientific community has a hard time replicating his results. He never applied to an ethic boards for permission to use human subjects. When one experiment went wrong, he covered it up by drowning the subjects. So this I told you. When subjects did not behave as desired, he deleted them from the sample. He rarely came to class and instead told students to read the book. Some say he had his son teach the class. He expelled his first 2 students from learning. Although there were only 10 requirements, most students failed his tests. Failing students were treated harshly. It may be true that he created the world, but what has he done recently? So now it's Nadia, could you please come here and introduce our keynote speaker, Justice Bernstein, please.
Good evening. Justice Richard Bernstein became the first blind justice elected by voters statewide to the Michigan Supreme Court in November of 2014. With a commitment to justice and fairness, Bernstein began his 8-year term in January of 2015. Prior to being elected to Michigan's highest court, Justice Bernstein was known as a tireless advocate for disabled rights. As an attorney heading the Public Service Division for the Sam Bernstein Law Firm in Farmington Hills, Michigan. Blind since birth, Justice Bernstein is a Phi Beta Kappa graduate of the University of Michigan and earned his Juris Doctorate from Northwestern University School of Law. Committed to taking action to help clients who needed him, Justice Bernstein's landmark cases have set both national and international legal standards, protecting the rights and safety of all people. Bernstein previously served an 8-year term on the Wayne State University Board of Governors. He also served as an adjunct professor in the Political Science Department at the University of Michigan. Throughout his distinguished career, Justice Bernstein has received numerous honors and accolades, including recognition on worldwide television by CNN as a leader in keeping government honest. Justice Bernstein received the John W. Comiskey Pro Bono Award from the State Bar of Michigan in recognition of his leadership as an advocate and an activist. He is also the recipient of the James T. Newbucker Award for his unwavering commitment to equal rights and opportunities for people with disabilities. In 2013, Justice Bernstein was inducted into the National Jewish Sports Hall of Fame. And in his spare time, he is an avid runner, completing 21 marathons, including 12 New York City marathons and the full Ironman triathlon in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Staying true to his title, Justice Bernstein previously co-hosted a WCHB AM 1-hour legal radio show called Fighting for Justice. It is my honor to join you in welcoming a dear, kind, loyal friend and a fierce advocate for justice and equality, a remarkable man who was born without sight, yet blessed with extraordinary vision. Please welcome Michigan Supreme Court Justice Richard Bernstein.
there was a great storm as the angel came upon Jacob. You could hear the thunder. You could see the lightning. And you could feel as the earth would shake as the angel and Jacob battled through the evening. The battle continued for hours and did not stop until the sun rose. Upon the next morning, the angel blessed Jacob and gave him the name Israel, which is translated to mean a battle with God. The battle left Jacob with an injury. He was unable to walk without pain, and he would limp. The question was asked, how could a man who was chosen to lead so many, to help become the father of a nation, be left with an injury, become disabled? Perhaps the answer is that the Creator felt that it is only through injury, it is only through pain, it is only through suffering that someone can truly lead. For it's only through these qualities that you can come to have empathy, that you can come to have faith, that you can come to have perseverance. But it's only through struggle, it is only through hardship, it is only through pain that you can come to have an understanding, that you can come to have compassion, that you can come to empathize and understand the struggles and the hardships of those that you lead. A young mother called me one morning. She said, "Richard, I'm reaching out to you because I know that you care about people with disabilities. But I'm calling because I simply want to understand why. Why it is I can be a kind person. I can be a pious person. I can be a righteous person. I'm a good person. I see all my friends. I see their families. I see their children. They're all healthy. They're vibrant. They're energized. They're excited. I wanted to be a mother my entire life. It's all that I asked for. It's all that I prayed for. But help me to understand why it is that of all the people in the world, that God would choose me to have a child with severe special needs. Tell me what kind of a life my newborn is going to have. Do you think he's ever going to have any friends? Do you think my house is going to be filled with children at play? Do you think my baby's ever going to get married? Will I ever have grandkids? Will he ever live independently? And what will happen when I am no longer here to care for him? When do you think my life, my child's life, our family's life will ever be ordinary again? And when do you think we will reach a place where we will no longer have to suffer? I remember after my election having a conversation. It was about what are the qualities that make a good judge? What goes into being a good jurist? You're making decisions that affect the lives of people, their lives, their families' lives, their freedom. What are the qualities that go into having such a position? And people said, oh, well, that's quite simple. It comes down to really what school you went to, your academics, your intellectual curiosity, your ability to research and to write and to publish. And I remember saying, don't you think you've missed the most important criteria? When asked what that was, I responded by saying life experience. We go back to the story of Jacob and that idea of struggle, and that idea of struggling with the Creator, that idea of struggling to understand why, to understand, to comprehend why we are the way we are and the lives that we're given. And I remember expressing that it's truly through our life experiences that we come to understand others. We come to realize their stories. We develop a sense of compassion. We're able to understand. We have the ability to empathize. It's through our life experiences that we come to understand and appreciate our mission, why we are here, what we were sent to do, and our ultimate reason for creation. The Creator gives us our experiences for a reason. He gives them to us so that we can grow from them, but most importantly, He gives them to us so that we can have an impact, that we can affect the lives of other people. It's only through life experience that we can come to make change, that we understand why we are here, why we were created, and ultimately what we were truly sent to do. I remember this mother's question. When will our lives ever be ordinary? And at what point will we no longer have to suffer? And I remember answering her question by turning to the experiences that God gave me and by looking to our story of Jacob and his ultimate struggle with God. I remember answering this beautiful mom by saying, from this point forward, there will be nothing about your life. There will be nothing about your child's life, and there will be nothing about your family's life that will ever be ordinary again. Because you simply have to believe that your child was sent here not simply to be ordinary, but to be extraordinary. And I don't believe that God would ever create anybody with the idea that they should ever have to suffer. But there are some who walk among us that do have to struggle. The students here today are going to be our future leaders. You're going to be our pioneers. You're going to be the ones that people look to. You will be making decisions that affect the lives of countless numbers of people. You have to embrace the experiences that you have. You have to embrace the struggles that you are given, and you have to find a higher calling and a higher purpose. You have to come to realize that you are part of something bigger, that you are part of something grander, that you are part of a plan more noble than you can possibly imagine or even attempt to comprehend. It is through our struggle that we come to learn our identity. It is through our struggle that we come to find mission. It is through our struggle that we come to find passion, that we come to find reason, that we come to know our purpose. It is through our struggle that we answer the question that goes back to the book of Job, which is, why is it, if God is so good, He allows for such suffering to happen to such good people? Why is it, if God is so kind and so merciful, He ultimately allows bad things to happen to otherwise such good people? And why is it that there are some who walk among us that have to know a greater struggle or greater hardship or greater challenge than others can possibly imagine or even attempt to comprehend? Why, if the Creator is so merciful, He allows for such struggle, pain, and difficulty to afflict the warm, the kind, and the generous? It's about 2 weeks ago and I was giving a presentation in Grand Rapids. And I was asked, what is it that the world needs now? And I remember thinking back to a presentation that I gave before the United Nations in Vienna, Austria. There were 150 countries present, 15 languages spoken. And I remember thinking, as I presented, and questions started to be asked by reporters from across the globe, how is it that a blind person could serve on their state's highest court? How is this remotely possible? How can you visit a crime scene? How can you understand photographs? How can you appreciate veracity without understanding or knowing facial expressions? How can this possibly be done? And I remember a comment from a wonderful reporter when she said, just how American is that? That a blind person could serve on their state's highest court. Just how American is that? We have to remember who we are. We have to remember that we are a kind people. We have to remember that we are a warm people. We have to remember that we are an incredibly optimistic people. We are an idealistic people. We are the kind of people that believe anything and everything is possible. We are a force for tremendous good. We are a culture that believes that everybody matters and that everybody counts. We are a nation that believes that all people are welcomed. We are a country that is built on the foundations of good, on the foundations of optimism, on the foundations of hope, on the foundations of idealism. We are a people of boundless energy and enthusiasm that believe that we are limited by nothing. For ultimately, it is only through the struggle and the challenges and the difficulties that we face that we come to grow, understand, and connect with those around us. We all have a struggle with the Creator. We all have a struggle to understand and appreciate why. We all have a struggle to understand fairness and justice. We all have a struggle to look at our lives and ask why. We all have a struggle to wonder, why is it that this hardship afflicts me? Why is it that this challenge afflicts my family? Why is it that I have relatives who are taken too soon? We all have lives where we call out for answer and we seek questions that we know that are unfair. But it's through our life experiences. It's through this understanding. It's through this incredible mission. It's through this remarkable journey that we come to realize the power that exists within our spirits and our souls. For the students that are here tonight, we look to you because you are the future. You are the guides. You have done remarkable things. You have accomplished greatness. But the thing that I love about this institution is the students that it produces are warm, are kind, are generous, are thoughtful. Nothing's been handed to you. Nothing has been given to you. Nothing has come easy for you. You've had to work for everything. You've had to strive for everything. You've had to push for everything. But it's through that struggle that you have a greater understanding and a greater appreciation of struggle, of purpose and mission than others can possibly imagine. But now it's time for you to take that struggle. It is time for you to take that purpose. It is time for you to take those experiences and transform it into helping and changing the world to make it better. For it is only through the struggles that you have had that you can have the impact that you undoubtedly will be able to create. So why is it that bad things happen to otherwise such good people? And why is it that there are some who walk among us that have to know a greater hardship or a greater struggle than others can possibly imagine or even attempt to comprehend? As young people, you will find as you go through life that things don't quite go the way that you hope. You won't always have the life that you envisioned. You will face struggle. You will face setback. You will have challenges with health or issues within your family. These are going to be a part of your life experience. But you come to realize through the experiences that you have is that you are part of something bigger and part of something grander than you can possibly imagine. And the challenge that you find as you face the struggles of life is that you will come to learn the incredible blessing of perspective. The ability to know and appreciate what is important versus what is not. What to prioritize and what to not. It is through perspective that great things can be accomplished, that great things can be done. And what I ask you to do as you go through your days and your weeks and your months is when you face setback, when you face difficulty, when you face challenge, when you face struggle, when you face pain, you must never see it as a snapshot. If you can find just enough good, just enough joy in a day or a week, you can balance out the hardship, the darkness, and the difficulty. And as you go through life, you're going to face certain obstacles. Things are going to happen. It's just the nature of how we're created. And so often, when you lose a loved one, or you get sick, or you have an injury, people will often say to you, "Oh, I think you're going to be fine," or "You're going to make a full recovery," or "Your relative or your family member or your friend is going to make a full recovery." The lesson you come to realize as you go through life is that not everybody gets to recover. But the people that survive, the people that thrive, are the ones who learn how to adapt to their new circumstance, how to adapt to their new situation, how to adapt to the life that was unexpected or the life that was not wanted. But it is the power of adaptation that allows for you to lead, that allows for you to move forward, that allows for you to accomplish great things when you thought such things could never happen or never occur. The ability to adapt to a new circumstance, to a new situation, to a new way of life is the ultimate in strength, resilience, and tenacity. So why is it that bad things happen to otherwise such good people? And why is it that there are some who walk among us that have to know a greater struggle or a greater hardship than others can possibly imagine or even attempt to comprehend? As you heard in the introduction, I've been blessed to have had the opportunity of completing 21 marathons and a full Ironman competition. For those of you who are unfamiliar, the Ironman is a 2.4-mile swim, followed by a 112-mile bike, to be completed by a 26.2-mile run. The rules of the competition are quite simple. If you stop, if you rest, if you take a break, you run the risk of missing a cutoff. If a cutoff is missed, you will be immediately disqualified from the competition. If you finish at 12:05 and not 12 o'clock, it is like you were never even there. 2 years of effort, work, and training will literally be for nothing. So I invite you to picture, if you would, the feeling you would have as you dive into Lake Coeur d'Alene. The water temperature that morning was 55 degrees. Imagine swimming in total darkness. You have no idea where you started. You have no idea where you're going. But most terrifyingly, you have no idea where you are. Being the only disabled competitor, you repeatedly get kicked in the face by all the other swimmers. And being blind, you can't brace for the ensuing impact. You try to surface, but it's impossible because there's other people immediately above you. And lastly, other competitors become entangled and ensnared in the rope that connects you to your guide. And as the rope constricts, it starts taking you below the waves, where you start to feel a drowning sensation. At moments like this, you come to find that that's really when miracles happen. For ultimately, it's always the people that have infirmity, that are mortal, who have the strongest spirits. For ultimately, the body, yes, is weak for many of us. But it's always these same people who have the strongest of spirits, the most resilient of souls. You're our future leaders. You're the ones that we look to. Always remember that strength is found in so many different ways. Always remember it's the most unlikely of souls and unlikely of spirits who through that struggle, who through that battle, like Jacob, come to find their way, come to understand their role, come to realize their promise, their purpose, their mission, their reason for creation. So we ask the question again. Why is it that bad things happen to otherwise such good people? And why is it that there are some who walk among us that have to know a greater struggle or greater hardship than others can possibly imagine? You come to learn that life can change at an instant. At an instant. It was a beautiful morning as I was walking in New York Central Park. A story I always share to illustrate this point. I've memorized Central Park. I know the loop that serves as a circumference, so I'm able to walk without an escort, without a guide. It's August 13th, a glorious, glorious summer morning, 85 degrees and sunny. My body was in mint condition. At that point, I had done 17 marathons and an Ironman. I was walking and I was contemplating the fact that in 2 months I'd be running my 18th marathon. I was excited. I was feeling good. Life was great. As I walked in the pedestrian lane, a bicyclist was traveling at a speed of in excess of 35 miles per hour. Due to such a high rate of speed, the bicyclist was unable to maintain control. And when he hit 91st Street and the park's biggest hill, he veered into the pedestrian lane where I was walking and struck me directly in the back. A 35-mile-an-hour impact is catastrophic, to say the absolute least. Life can change in an instant. How do you handle a circumstance where, as a blind person, you used athletics to find your way? You used running to give yourself a sense of strength and purpose. It became your identity. It allowed for you to deal with the difficulties of blindness, and it gave you that sense of satisfaction. And in an instant, you're at Mount Sinai Hospital for over 10 weeks. For our young leaders who are here today that are going to go off and do great things in business, that are going to be our future leaders, that are going to be making decisions that are going to affect the lives of many. I ask for you to remember this. Life is always about the small things, never the big. It's always the small. In my situation as an Ironman, as a marathoner, you miss that opportunity that you had just a few moments before your accident, where you were able to use the bathroom or take a shower. You miss what it was like to have the chance to sleep through the night without having to arrive in a pain that is literally indescribable. People used to come and visit the hospital, and I'd always ask them to tell me, so where are you going after you leave Sinai? They'd always say things like, oh, I'm going to go and visit some friends. I got to go back to the office. I think I'm going to grab a bite to eat. I'd always tell them that those are the things that I dream about. Those are the things that I pray for. Those simple things. Going to a restaurant, hearing the clinking of dishes as you have a wonderful conversation, the smell of great food, the feeling of fresh air on your face as you walk outside, the sounds that traffic make, riding on a subway or taking a bus, being a part of the world, moving and going and doing. Remember the little things. Remember how much they mean to people. That sense of compassion, that sense of courteousness. So why do these things happen? Why do such bad things happen to people who are otherwise kind and good and just? Our experiences are given to us for a reason. They're given to us for a purpose. Life isn't always about being happy. Life isn't always about smiling and laughing. Life isn't always about trying to understand and appreciate the meaning of happiness. Life is about peace, mission, focus, determination. Life is about being part of something more, being part of something grand. Life is about doing things that enable to make things better for others. Life is about using our time the way the Creator wants us to be a force for good, to be a force for change, to be kind, to be compassionate, to be understanding, to be warm, to be sensitive, to be good. And I ask you as you go through your days, that you celebrate every victory and every accomplishment. No matter how small you might think it is, it merits celebration. It merits joy. It merits triumph. We come to ask why these things happen, but what I tended to find in my circumstance, how often do you get to go through life where you see the best in people? You see the warmth of people. You see the kindness of people. You see the good in people, and you come to find the absolute joy in life. I remember as I was in the hospital for such a long period of time that sponge baths get to be very difficult over time because they're cold and uncomfortable. And I remember one of the nurses knew how much I longed for a hot shower. So on a Sunday morning, we went in. And in the hospital, you're able to take the faucet and bring it into the rest of the bathroom without going into the shower, which I was unable to do. And for 5 minutes, I got to feel the warmth of that faucet, the warmth of the water as it caressed your skin. But the challenge that ensued is that it would flood the entire bathroom and flood the entire room and make a general mess of everything. But the people at the hospital understood how much I love this. The nurses and the PCAs, the custodial staff would come in and work overtime so that they could clean the bathroom, they could vacuum the room, they could get the water out, they could do what had to be done. They did it on their own time. Yes, it was not hospital regulation, but they knew how much I loved it. And every Sunday for 5 minutes, I was given that pleasure and that incredible joy to have a warm, hot shower. And for the rest of the day, the hospital team would work to remove all signs that this happened. Celebrate your life. Celebrate your accomplishments and celebrate your victories. Life changes quickly. Things happen. In my situation, I remember celebrating the fact that I was able to sit up in bed. I celebrated the fact that I was able to start using a walker, and I celebrated the fact that I was able to make it to the end of my ward and visit the nurses on my own power. Life can change. You can't always remember what you were. You have to accept who you are. You have to find out how you have to move forward. You can't dwell on the past. You can't think about the fact that you were a 17-time marathoner and Ironman. You have to take pride in the fact that you were able to get up off your own power. Pain is the kind of thing that stays with you. You can't ignore it. It becomes a part of your life. Setback is the kind of thing that you experience in the same fashion. You shouldn't ignore it. You should accept it and embrace it. Not with joy or happiness, but realize it creates who you are. It gives you that appreciation and understanding that you otherwise would not have. It was a short time ago, and it was time for the New York City Marathon. Now, running the New York City Marathon on a shattered hip and crushed pelvis was going to be difficult, to say the least. The hospital wasn't thrilled about it. People didn't like the idea, but they knew it had to be done. Now, I used to be a graceful runner, but in my new situation, that would no longer be the case. But rather than stopping or giving up or retiring, I wanted to participate. It would be a new marathon, it would be a new challenge, and it would be a new experience. It would be something different from what it once was. As we ran through the streets of New York, and we reached mile 18 and began crossing the 59th Street Bridge, started running up First Avenue, the pain was becoming so severe that I remember reaching up to the heavens and praying to the Creator that He would allow for me to complete this race. I prayed that He would let me meet this goal. Allow for me to do this without losing consciousness. Allow for me to do this without passing out. I think as our young people will come to find as they go forward with life, that miracles happen when you least expect them. For at that moment and at that time, you come to find a sense of peace. A peace with your new circumstance. A peace with your new life. But most importantly, you come to find a sense of peace with our Creator. So why is it that bad things happen to otherwise such good people? And why is it that there are some who walk among us that have to know this greater struggle or greater hardship than others? I believe the answer goes something like this. At a certain point in life, you can't spend your time trying to get over it, for you realize there is simply no other alternative but to just get on with it. And ultimately, it is those who will do what is hard to achieve no less than what is great. And it is through our life experiences that we come to use our passion, that we come to use our wisdom to do nothing less than change the world that we live in. For you are leaders. You are the ones who sit in the corner office. You are the ones who have the big desk. And you are the ones that people are going to listen to. But it's up to you to take those resources. It's up to you to take those opportunities to do something grand. It's up to you to do something great. It's up to you to pass on goodwill. It's up to you to pass forward good energy. It's up to you to share your ideas, to share your wisdom. It's up to you to have optimism and idealism. It's up to you to transform the world. And it's up to you to believe that these types of things can truly happen. I remember through my experience having a chance to witness these changes. Seeing after speaking at the United Nations and traveling to other nations, where it was illegal in Austria for blind people to serve as judges, but that has changed. Where Australia helped to create its version of the ADA to give life and opportunity to countless numbers of people. To Ecuador adding a part of its constitution to give life and protect those with disabilities. To the nation of Spain that had made it difficult for people with disabilities to vote, to change their laws to become more inclusive. Change can come, but you have to want it. You have to believe in it. And you have to tap into your experiences so that you can connect with others to allow for that to come to fruition. But everybody in this room has the power to do it. For you have the life experience. You know the struggle. You know the hardship. But through your education, through your hard work, you will be in a position that you can do something about it. We have to look at our lives like a great novel. Within any story, there exist chapters. Chapters of pain, chapters of sorrow, and chapters of setback. But it's only through those chapters you will come to find hope, joy, and triumph. We must celebrate the lives that we are given. We must celebrate them for the good and for the bad. If I hadn't had the experiences that I was given, I wouldn't be a good judge. I wouldn't be kind. I wouldn't be merciful. I wouldn't be empathetic. I wouldn't be understanding. We can only use our experiences to be enhanced through the opportunities that we're given. We celebrate life. Life for its good and life for its bad. We celebrate our journey. We celebrate our mission. We celebrate our reason for being. We celebrate the idea that extraordinary things can, will, and must happen for each and every one of us. But most importantly, we celebrate the beautiful idea that yes, our bodies are mortal, our bodies are infirmed, but it is our spirits and it is our souls that truly know no bounds.
Justice Bernstein, thank you for your wonderful, wonderful, earth-shaking message to inductees. At this time, I'm gonna ask our President Brender Modgil, to give his concluding remarks.
Good evening, everyone. I know that Dean Mershav and I have not only been colleagues, but have become friends lately in his pursuit for getting accreditation for AACSB. But I did not know that he has some grudges against me to put me after one of the best speakers I've ever heard. Mr. Bernstein, your words, your passion, your experiences are examples for everyone in this room, and that's beyond who are unfortunately not here to hear you. I hope the new graduates, new inductees, take a note of it, that your experiences are your values, and you put them to right place. When Mr. Bernstein were talking about, I reminded myself of Darwin. Darwin never said alone that it is the survival of the fittest. People do not use the fact that it is those who survive are those who adapt to the changing situations. And that was also a message Mr. Bernstein shared with us. Adaptation to your circumstances, regardless of what you have been endowed with. I'm not here to lecture, but I will be remiss if I did not think about the impact that his lecture had. This is the second time I've heard him, and I hope I drive safe going home, because it's going to be on my mind, every word he has spoken, and I think you will cherish it as well. Not to go too beyond, but be grateful for the time we had listening to him. Let me congratulate all the inductees, our students, graduate students, and men and women who were inducted. Let's give them a big applause one more time. Yeah, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I came around the same time to Lawrence Tech as Dean Mirshab, and we had one common mission: to raise the profile and the virtues of this great institution. He took it on heads-on. It takes 7 years or so to get accreditation with this great honor of AACSB. And I think he did it voraciously in less time. And we became, very few people take a job at that level. They promise, when you get a job, you promise world to everybody. But very few actually accomplish the goal why they took the job. And he has. So I want you to acknowledge Dean Mirshab. That he has been able to fulfill that, but he didn't do it alone. He had a good leader actually create more leaders, and he did that. The faculty and staff he had is matchless. So I want to acknowledge also the faculty of the College of Management and the staff who's here. Thank you. This great evening will not be memorable without the great work of our hosts, Mina and Donna and Stephanie and many more. I cannot count Mariana and perhaps many more. My age is not giving me help, but I can remember all. But they did the best they can to make sure you're comfortable, you're attended to. They were courteous, very helpful. So we want to acknowledge their work as well. This evening was not only lighted to a next level of hardness, but also by the presence and honor that we bestowed upon two special inductees, the Mayor of Southfield and Mr. Bernstein. Congratulations. Our dean is a very special person, but he also likes to travel a lot. Oftentimes when I go to see him, he says he's gone, he's somewhere. So one of the instances I remember, the dean comes from a meeting, the provost, my friend and colleague, Dr. Vaz, asked him, you know, what is this bill? It is so heavy. What did you, because the dean's approval has to be done by the provost. And he says, what is this? It's a very big bill. We are a private university, it's a student tuition. Why are we spending this much money? So what is this bill for? He says, well, provost, this is about my hotel bill. So Maria said, well, next time don't buy a hotel. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a great evening. I hope we will continue to work with each other and be thinking about all the great things we heard this evening, and also cherish the beauty of those who were inducted and see them go on the path of success in life. And perhaps, remembering the words of Justice Bernstein, they will try to bring that light into their lives as well. Have a good night and be safe driving home. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. That brings our event to its conclusion. Safe driving back home.
Recognizing academic excellence. As such, 3 student recognition societies on the campuses of the University of California, Berkeley, the University of Illinois, and the University of Wisconsin came together in 1913 to establish a national organization which was named Beta Gamma Sigma. This name was chosen to represent the initials of 3 distinguished business professors at the University of Wisconsin. 105 years later, Beta Gamma Sigma is the largest organization in the world that honors business